Coach Bobby Petrino joining us on the Chuck and Bo Show now as the interim Razorback head coach. Coach, good morning.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, Bo. Good morning, Chuck. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Doing well. The question is, how are you doing after what can only be described as an unusual situation in terms of so many games left and trying to take the reins and kind of change the momentum of the season? What's this been like?
It's been a little bit of a wild ride, but it's been fun. You know, not a lot of sleep, but a lot of good work. I'm excited about the way our players reacted to practice last week and the way we got better each day at practice as far as our effort and attitude and physicalness. So looking forward to getting back out on the field today for a little while, but really getting out there tomorrow to start the week off right.
Coach, you talked about going without some sleep. Can you talk us through the difference in an offensive coordinator preparing for a football game as opposed to the head coach?
Well, the nice thing about offensive coordinator is, you know, my job was to make sure the quarterback was ready to go. I got to spend a lot of time in the meeting room with them and, watching video, making sure they knew the game plan, understanding protections and the run. Now you have to oversee everything, so you spend time with the defensive staff, make sure we spend time with practicing special teams the way we want to practice special teams. So there's just a lot more things to handle. The good thing is the offensive staff is intact and guys that are working that I trust, and I know that when I leave the room, they just continue moving forward and going on.
Coach, when you take over this situation, I can only imagine there's 100, 1,000 things that go through your mind about what you want to do. How do you go about prioritizing, because you don't have an entire summer or training camp? You do have a bye week, basically 3 practices, some meetings, but you're trying to maybe change the way people are thinking. You're dealing with emotions. How do you take that into a plan and execute here moving forward?
Well, what we really tried to do last week is to understand it is about the players, and let's make it where they enjoy coming into the building, they enjoy working hard, make sure that the attitude in the building is good, the attitude out on the field is good, and try to make sure they understand that what we're trying to do as a coach is make them better. Let them have a better understanding of how to play their position, how to play together as a team, how to play with great effort. So though it's kind of easy to just focus on how to help the player get better, and I think our staff did a really good job of that. I'm also trying to make it so it's a good experience for the staff, so that they grow and mature here in the next 2 months and get better as an individual coach, and maybe a new responsibility that they have that will help them get focused and really enjoy what they're doing.
How have the defensive players responded to the new coaches?
Well, I thought, the first meeting was hard. We got guys in there that, all of a sudden life has changed a little bit. But I told them that's exactly the same as me. I came here with my idea that I was going to coach the quarterbacks and coordinate the offense, and all of a sudden the guy that trusted me and hired me and did a great deal for me is not here any longer. So we all have to understand that it's not going to be the last time we have change in our life. In fact, it's going to go on and on and on. So it's up to us to have a positive attitude and grow from it, not take a step backwards. And, once we got a long meeting going and then we got out on the field, I think that the players came together and their attitude's been good.
Coach, staying with the defense, what have you seen there? What have you evaluated? What has to happen to give you a better chance on that side of the ball?
Well, we gotta cut it down a little bit so everybody's out on the field and understands exactly what to do. When you're not understanding exactly what to do and all 11 pieces aren't working together, it's hard to stop somebody. We have to play the principles of good defense, which is getting a great stance, get my eyes right, have great get off, no matter what position we're playing. We got to shed blocks, run full speed to the ball, and tackle well. And first thing we need to do is stop the run. Once we stop the run, then we can look at how to eliminate the big plays down the field throwing the ball.
Coach, you've talked some about, just the fact the newness, the players adjusting to all of this. I know that's hard to do inside 3 practices or a week, but what's your assessment on I don't know that turning the page is the right way to put it, but the way the players have put last week behind them and looking forward to a game now?
Yeah, I think that, we're going to find out a little bit more. They did a good job last week. I was proud of the attitude that we had, the effort that they gave at practice, how willing they were to work hard. Gave them 3 days off, so they were off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Come back, and a group of them are in the weight room right now working hard. And then we get some good meeting time in. A short practice today. I don't really like to practice a lot on Mondays. I kind of have a routine to go through Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I don't like leaving it on the practice field. So we're going to try to get them to understand what the schedule is going to be and how to prepare your mind and your body to go to battle on Saturday.
You talked about some of them being in the weight room. Will they lift a little bit more? It seems like that's one of the things you've liked to have teams do in the past.
Yeah, we'll get in there and throw the weight around a little bit more, and certainly have different guys on different schedules. So a lot of times the starters and guys that play a lot of reps are going to be in there pounding away 2 times a week, and guys that are developing and keep growing need to do it as the rest of the season goes on. So they'll get in there a little bit more, and some of that's on a voluntary basis because of the hour restrictions that we have.
Coach, it seemed like if you don't fumble at Ole Miss, you don't fumble at Memphis, maybe you win both of those games. And then you get in the Notre Dame game, and it just didn't seem like the same team, like maybe there had been some carryover effect. And I remember talking to an analyst on the show who was like, when you're way better on one side of the ball, eventually that can kind of catch up, and there's more pressure on that side of the ball. Looking at the offense, like what has to happen to kind of get back to what looked so and felt so dynamic earlier in the season?
Yeah, we got to get back to our mental state and making sure that we're getting out on the field and we're tough and believe in each other and expect to go score every time we touch the ball. And I felt like those first 4 games, our guys did that. They played with great speed and effort. We were able to protect the quarterback and not turn the ball over except for twice like that. But we got to get that back. There's no question about that. I do feel like at halftime at the Notre Dame game that the offense didn't do a very good job of re-energizing and going out and being able to feel like and believe. A lot of offense is believing that you can do it, believing in one play at a time. And I felt like when they looked at the scoreboard that they gave that idea that they weren't believing we were going to be able to come back and get it done.
Coach, when Hunter Yurachek made the announcement to let Sam Pittman go and you were going to be the interim head coach, they included in the announcement that you had made it known that you'd like to be the full-time head coach at the University of Arkansas. It's a little unusual to hear that, in my experience, in that kind of press release. What was that conversation like? How did this come about, and why is that important to you, after being a coordinator here the last few years?
Yeah, it was about probably the least amount of the conversation that we had.
Yeah.
When he said, would you like to be the head coach or a candidate for the job going forward? I said, of course I would. And that's all there was to that. Like I said before, my focus is just on what we can do now in 8 weeks and how we can make this a great experience and get better and win games.
What do you do the rest of the way, Coach? And maybe you've already touched on it, but like when we sit here on the outside and we look at the schedule, it's just like, man, what a challenge, what a task. How do you, over time here, just week to week, keep guys sort of swimming in the same direction, being together, being connected?
Well, I think you do it on a daily basis. It's one day at a time, and just focus on what we can do today. And like I said, part of this is for the players to make themselves more marketable, make their brand better for their future, whether it's going into the NFL, whether it's transferring, whether it's staying here. They've got to sell themselves, and they've got to put it on video so that they can sell themselves as a product. And if we can understand that and then stick together and play for each other, I think you'll see us get better and better.
We'll get you out of here with this. Game week, Tennessee. Let's just talk ball for a second. The matchup. What do you got to do to go give yourself a chance to win this game in a tough environment?
I'm excited about it. I think offensively what we've got to do is protect the quarterback and move forward, not have negative plays. As long as we're going forward on first down, second down, get in positions where we can execute on our third downs, that's been a strength of ours all year long, and we've got to rely on that. Defensively, it's going to start with shutting down the run. As much as Tennessee is, plays those spread formations and does all that, they rely on running the football. So we've got to be able to do that and then get off the field on third down. I think one of the issues that we've had is getting off the field on third down. So if we can do that, we'll be right in there in the fourth quarter, and that's what we want to do is make it a fourth quarter game where we're in an opportunity to win the game in the fourth quarter.
Sorry, Coach, I got one more. I lied. About the future. Not just this season, but you got recruiting. You got big picture. What's your vision for right now, but also just kind of where this program can go?
Well, the only way you can do that is operate like you are going to be here, and that's what we did this past week when we were recruiting and all the coaches going out to different schools, getting in, talking to the high school coaches, talking to the recruits, going to games. It was a lot of fun. It was great to see you guys out there, and certainly exciting to watch some of the recruits that we had on the field live.
Coach, thank you. We know you got to get to it. We appreciate you making time for us. Good luck this week.
Thank you, Coach.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Coach Bobby Petrino with us on the Chuck and Bo Show. I mean, sitting here having this conversation is like we just time warped and just squeezed all these years away. And it's like we're back in 2012.
Well, the interesting thing in all of this to me has been from the get-go, and I know it was a short part of their conversation, he and Hunter, about him being a candidate for the job beyond this season. When he said right there, you've got to go into this as though you're going to be the guy. You've got to continue to recruit. I'm encouraged by the fact they were out last week. The last thing in the world you want is for your interim staff not to be out on the road, because that tells you all they're doing is trying to find their next job. I think that's good. And I think he's right. It's kind of like we talked about with Pittman. It's business as usual until it's not. The day before Arkansas played Notre Dame was like every Friday in that football building. And then they lost the next day and everything changed.